Hello and welcome to the Card Deck Creators interview series with me, Ayesha Hilton. Today, I'm very pleased to have with me today Julie Humphris from the mid-north coast of New South Wales in Australia. And I don't know that much about Julie or her deck, so we'll get to ask all the juicy questions and find out more. So, Julie, to kick it off, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do in your business?
Yeah, sure. So, yes, I'm up on the Mid North Coast. I'm actually a business advisor, and the business I have is working with small businesses around business wellness and balance. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of things where people get right into their business and it's exciting, but it's all consuming, and then it leads to overwhelm and burnout. And so, I work with a lot of people that have had that experience or pre that experience and help them keep a focus and grounding across all areas of their life so they've got that beautiful holistic balance.
I think it's so important now. I was listening to something the other day where a lot of people, they called it, I can't remember who it was, but it was on the Mel Robbins podcast. And the lady she was interviewing was saying a lot of people post pandemic and like we thought life would get better, but actually we're still exhausted. And it's there's something called horizonlessness where you can't even think, what do I want to do in the future? I can't barely get through today. So I think that, and especially when you run a business, a lot of people have created a business, they've lent their ladder up against one wall and then like, oh, I don't like this, and then they just want to throw the whole ladder away and blow up the wall, but actually they just need to make some changes, and they don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. I'm just mixing all my metaphors here.
No, and you're absolutely right. It's I think also what we're fed as to what success looks like can actually really throw us out because business success, especially we're being marketed to all the time around what business success is, and it's a dollar value, but potentially at what cost? And is do we just need to reframe what success is? That you're feeling really yourself, you're looking after your own self growth and your family and your relationships and connections, and you have this amazing business that can support that equally how much you support the business. So it's sort of nice to, step back and look at it differently. And I also run wellness programs. So they're a 12-month program that small business owners can join up at any point. And we do motivational sessions, accountability, one-on-one calls, and all sorts of stuff that really support their overall goals. Like, we've got goals in different areas. So it's not just your business goals, it's what's your relationship goals and your other well-being goals. And so this is, yeah, sort of where my little center is.
I love it. And what you're saying about success is so true. Like we used to be marketed to that, oh, get your six-figure business. Now it's bloody seven figures. And then you have to have a team and this and that. And I love having a small business with just me and maybe a VA, depending when I need it. And it's like my idea of success is being able to pick up my kids from school and be able to go on holidays. And I'm a single parent, so I'm the breadwinner of my family, but I don't feel like I can't do things just because of that. So yeah, success, how we define it is so important. Now, let's talk about your card deck. Can you tell me, how you came to make a card deck? Give me the goss.
Yes. Okay. So in one of the roles I am a business advisor. And so I do free business advisory support for small business in that role. And the biggest gap I'm seeing constantly is that there's no care for well-being. So it's not part of my role in that position to sort of help people with their goal setting, and helping them to have focus and really pinpoint and look after themselves. So it's a repeated pattern I was seeing, and I thought we really need something that's not overwhelming for business owners either, to go, oh, there's another thing I've got to try to do to be successful and to look like I have everything. So I wanted to create something that was really easy, but just a gentle hint every day of something that they could focus on in all the different areas. So they can pull one out randomly for the day and focus on that. They can just have the stack on the desk and pull one off at a time. Just gives them one thing to focus on, especially if you're overwhelmed that day. and you think, I've really got to work on something, I need a reminder, then these sort of were my perfect little solution. And as far as I know, there's actually nothing else out there like that. So it was sort of a perfect little segue. And of course, your course was amazing to help me bring that into the world.
Fabulous. So, should we have some show and tell? I love some show and tell. So, I haven't had a good look at your deck either. So, I'm super curious to see it.
Fabulous. Okay. So I was very, so excited when they arrived. But this is the pack. So this is Business Life Balance card deck. So it's got my little scales on the side, instructions on the back. Nice and simple. I wanted to keep them simple enough and almost neutral so they can sit on anyone's desk. So there's 60 cards plus the instruction card inside. So that's our instruction card, the same as the box with the instructions on the back, fairly simple. And then these are the cards. So yeah, there's 60, that's the back there. And then there's all different mixes of different aspects and reminders. So for example, the first one there is thank yourself. So thanking yourself, depending on which way you want to do it, but I often say to people, send yourself a scheduled email for 1 week's time and thank yourself for all the trouble that you've gone to during the week and the things that you faced and the things that you've done. So it's just self-encouragement. And then, for example, we've got another one, listen to a motivational podcast, just one thing to do for the day. Then it's a little bit more sort of business focused, which is time block. So time block some business love time, which is what I refer to if, you want to sit down and do a bit of research online, and then we feel guilty because I just spent an hour online looking at other people's websites or looking at things I might want to do, but actually it's really valuable to your business. So, we stop that guilt. So other things like donate, so become a mentor. So just different things for people to think about and bring into their life. So we've got like listen consciously today. So there are things that sort of, go across different areas of their life and are encouraging and just give, a bit of a focus. But I have been doing single card pulls for people, which is interesting because you can use them as a motivational tool, but everybody I've pulled them out for is like, oh, that's exactly what I needed. So if we do this one, research. So anyone who's watching this is probably for them. Research a business who inspires you. So kind of getting away from, the typical thing that we're told, which is, you need to know what your competitors are doing. And I think potentially that puts us in a negative headspace because then it brings up that energy of I'm in competition with somebody and I have to do something better. Whereas if we raise the bar and say, go and research somebody who actually is amazing, and look at why you feel so good when you're in their space and how can you bring that back to your business. So yeah, so it's it took me a little bit of a time to get all the right content for the cards so that there was a good balance across different areas, and did make them so that they can sit, they're neutral, they can sit on anybody's desk and be pretty inconspicuous just on top. And I already have another deck in progress that will that people can build. So there'll be a couple more series people can build on these. And there will be a book coming out later on in the year to also help support. So they're going to be a really good little trio eventually. But yeah, super happy with the quality. Like the printing was amazing. It was such a good experience for the first experience I've ever had with printing cards. It was fabulous to have you guide me through that. And then the printers were amazing.
So you printed with ePrint online in Queensland? So
yes.
Correct.
Yeah, they were amazing. They were really easy to talk to, especially when it's the first time. I didn't want to send something off that was going to create a problem or send something off and have them have to ring me and me feeling like I've got no idea about it. But they were very easy to deal with. And what I love is every single step of the way, you get a tracking email. So it was like so the boxes are being printed, the boxes are on the shelf setting, the boxes have had their coating. So it was really good to be involved in that whole process. I knew exactly what stages they were up to and how close they were getting to coming out.
Yeah, they're a great company. I refer my Aussie people to them a lot, unless they're doing a big, 1,000 lot with a Chinese printer or something. We definitely like to go local, and the turnaround time is good. And yeah, I've got my decks printed with them as well, and the quality is gorgeous. I was thinking about your deck actually, because I have a square deck.
Oh, yeah.
So because you don't have much content, I'd be curious to see, because I have the mini deck, the super mini deck, and the square deck. Now that you've got a second one, you probably want them to be the same size, but it would be curious to see, if there's not a lot of content, people can think of a different size as well, instead of, the 3.5 by 5 or something like you, similar to what you've got. So I just thought I'd put that out there, because
That's a great idea.
yeah, they printed this square deck for me.
Nice.
I still fit a fair bit of amount of content that's
Yeah,
readable
there's a lot.
back. So yeah, and even with yours, like sometimes I really like using both sides of the real estate. So you might have the words that you've got. I know you've got the beautiful purple with the scales, but if you were going to have one with more content, you could actually use both sides and have the words on one side and then the details. Because when you talk, you've got all this information about what you've said in the card, and I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. So I just a bit of feedback, in case, not that you asked.
Oh no, that's
it,
a fantastic idea. It was great, because I was trying to not have a book
I
that
know.
goes in everything.
I'm
So
all for
that's
that.
perfect, because that's why with the cover one, I've actually done the instructions again just on the back of a card rather than create a whole book, because number one, books get lost. Books will get lost anyway, but also the price point then is much higher with the book included, and then I'm going to have to sell them at a higher
And it's more
price.
complicated
So
to
trying to
design a
keep
book.
them accessible for small business owners.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing I'd suggest for other people who are listening, is I have like a suite of guide cards. So if I'm not doing a book, you could have one about Julie, how to work with Julie. If you had a downloadable workbook that went with the card, or a journal, you could have a QR code on there, and then people QR code, and it takes them to a landing page where they give you their email address, and get something to download. Because if you're going to sell on Etsy or Amazon or something, you won't have their details. So we're always wanting to build our email list. And now, like you saw what happened in America at the end of 2024, where they were going to cancel out TikTok, so people were freaking out. So we always want to be driving people, as you know, to our email list. So if you do a second print run, I'd highly suggest just adding in a few more guide cards, so that if I get given the book, like, I know you've got the website address on the front of the box, but I like to have them in the cards as well, like, I have a photo of you and a little bit about you, and then how to work with you, and that may change over the time, so you might just link to your website. But yeah, just give people something more to get them.
I think that's a great idea. I love that. Having another card in there with more information and
Yeah, so I often have 5
things. Yeah, I think that's fabulous.
like
That's
one.
great. Well,
Yeah,
because I've got the second deck sort of all ready to go, it's sitting there. I'm going to sort of probably wait about 3 or so months before I release that one. That'd be great, because I can take the opportunity to adjust those and put another card in with more of that info on it into those. Because I know once I got the excuse me, once I got this box, and I thought, oh, I should have put a QR code on the top of the box. So because I'd already sent the next run in, I'm just going to print some transparent stickers and just stick them on top of the box. Yeah. But anyway, but then for the next one, I can add all these things in, which would be great.
And I think that's part of the learning. I always say to people, have a learner deck first. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can do a small print run, try it out, learn the process, and then when you've got that down, you can redo that deck if you want. Because we're not ordering 1,000, mostly, for the learner deck or the first deck, then you can afford to make mistakes and it's not too costly. And often you still can sell those decks and give them away. I love to give decks away as well. Because if you're working, if you've got a high ticket program where people are working with you for a year with coaching, it's lovely for them to receive something in the mail as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I thought when I do presentations, or because I run business boot camps and do presentations as well, that to even just have one for those where everybody gets a card and that's their card for the day to focus on as well, a bit of fun. Yeah.
And you can also sell them while you're there. The decks.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Upsell. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And it gives people something tangible when they're not with you and it reminds you of them. So, yeah, it's beautiful. Well, congratulations on your deck and everything you're doing. Can you just remind us of your website so people can go check you out?
Yes, thank you. So it's juliehumphrys.com.au and that's spelled JulieHumphrys. And on there you can see our 2025 program details there. You can buy the cards there and you can see all the other offerings we have there. And if you want to get in contact, have a chat, please do so. All our contact details, phone number and email are on the website.
Fabulous. And before we go, is there any tips you'd like to share or something inspiring to say to people who are just starting out, they haven't got their deck done or they haven't even thought what they're going to do for their deck and they're just feeling a little overwhelmed? What would you say to those people?
Oh, absolutely jump on your course. It was fabulous to have the step-by-step process where you could get so far, pause, come back to it, do a little bit, do the next step, do the next step. So it was lovely that every single step was guided through, the links for the ISBN and which printers to contact, because that would have been a really big gap trying to find somebody who does do the Oracle size or tarot size card decks. And they were just so amazing. So I watched the interview that you had with the guys from ePrint. And that was fabulous because quite approachable and easy to talk to. So the whole process actually was fantastic. And I was able to use actually your discount code in there for my larger order. And so that made a nice big difference as well. So yeah, you're amazing. Thank you so much for sharing like all your knowledge and how you do that, because I think it's really accessible for anyone. So if anybody's thought one day I'm going to make a deck of cards, now's the good day to be the one day.